Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 14 of Touring the Londonverse. I'm your host ScottBGaming, and today we'll be looking at a promotion known as Desire Pro Wrestling, based in Japan. Very big puro company. In fact, it's the third largest company in the overall Londonverse starting data. So it's a big roster, we've got a lot to cover. Let's get stuck in. As you can see, as per usual, I've chosen James Avatar. Default stats right down the centre. Very nice company logo, thank you very much, sir. But first of all, we will dive right in to the promotional hub. Now, the first thing to note about Desire Pro Wrestling is that they run a touring schedule. That's quite a common theme in Japan. However, there are a couple of Japanese companies that don't actually abide by this rule, playing more regular shows to audiences. Desire Pro Wrestling is a bit more traditional in the sense that it sticks by what's expected of a Japanese company. Now, as you can see here, we're national size. It's very much a battle with Honor League Grappling, who I think are the same size from what my memory recalls anyway. They actually start with $5 million in the pot, but however, as we've already gone into February, which is the first touring month of Desire Pro Wrestling, you can see we made a £202,000 loss, or dollar loss, excuse me. However, I would fully expect to make that up in this tour for this month. So I've only set up the one show. I mean, each tour finishes with its own pay-per-view event. I think the way that Desire Pro Wrestling do their touring is that they do it every alternate month. So they start in February and then go throughout the rest of the year. So April, July, like that. Prestige is B, Momentum is A. I've set up a tour just now. There isn't actually one set up. You'd obviously be able to pick that if you were running the company. I've just called it the Late Winter Tour. First of all, well, not first of all, because we've covered quite a lot already. What I will do... Sorry, I'm just reading a message here. At least one of your events is set to be smaller than the size you could be using. Okay. Well, let's have a look at what I did there then. Oh, big. Okay, yeah, it could be on huge, but I put it on big, so that's fine. I'll see actually if it will allow me to amend that. Oh, okay, cool. Problem solved, and that gets rid of that note. Happy days. So let's have a look at the roster and see who we have to be working with. And we start with Alexander Repkov, the son of Russian immigrants, born and raised in Philadelphia actually, but made the move to Japan to expand his wrestling repertoire. Lightweight, cruiserweight competitor, an opener in the company which is very puro heavy, which is understandable. His puro is not great, but he can do other kinds of in-ring work, and I think that does go a certain distance with Desire Pro Wrestling. They're not necessarily typecasting everyone to having to perform in a particular style, which is good. Gives the opportunity for the likes of the Alexander Repkovs of the game world to make a name for himself. Comrade gimmick, of course, or Comrade. Archer Knox, real name Dave Thompson, young American wrestler who lives and works in Japan. It says young, he's 34 years of age, I wouldn't exactly describe that as young. Interesting kind of mohawk style with the spikes at the front. Big heavyweight, one of the guys in on the roster, badass, mid-carder. In-ring wise, okay. For this kind of company, his grades almost don't cut it, but he's got that kind of Gaijin factor. Power, pretty good. Menace, could do with being a little bit better given the kind of worker he's supposed to be. In fact, he even says in his bio, while not a terrible worker, the general consensus was that he was a run-of-the-mill big man who lacked the qualities of a breakout star. Well, it got him to mid-card on DPW's roster, so he can't be doing too bad. Move on now to a borderline trippy mask for Dragon Kiddo. Dragon Kid, basically. Japanese, junior, lightweight. Mid-carder, face, no gimmick needed. Mask prestige is indifferent at this point in time. I like the guy as a masked worker in this company. His mat wrestling and aerial ability are pretty damn good, so that's something that will keep him in relevancy for a relatively long period of time, I would have thought. But again, the roster is so big. I mean, you've got almost limitless options for what you want to do with the people from top to bottom on the card, and of course bringing in free agents and etc. and what have you. Yada yada yada. Move on now to IG Takawa. Interesting look actually, I don't hate the look. 36 years of age, heavyweight, main eventer, badass. A lot of kind of no-nonsense gimmicks in this company, if any gimmicks at all have been provided. His pure resu is 73, which is pretty nice. Brawling 69, that's good. Psychology and basics are fantastic. So deserving of his main eventer spot. Not someone that I would see being a continual threat to the heavyweight title, but he could be there or thereabouts for a significant period of time. I don't see any reason, apart from maybe if there's a younger, more talented guy coming through, that I would try and phase him out. I'd be happy to keep him around the main event scene for the foreseeable. Now, Grand Takada, legendary, excuse me if I can get my words out. The legendary Grand Takada, Takeda, the legendary Grand Takeda, there we go, is a man who personifies the traditional hard-hitting Puroresu style. I believe he's a road agent for the company, having retired. He is 59 years of age, bit of a silver fox with that hair going on there. His psychology and basics are actually almost on a par with Eiji Takawa, so that could kind of give you an indication of where Eiji Takawa could go after he hangs up his boots. So yeah, legendary Japanese worker, now turns to road agent for the company. Very nice. I like this look, I have to admit. Hisoka Minami. Hisoka Minami, young wrestler, graduated DPW's dojo, so the company itself actually has its own dojo, which is nice. Helpful to get the new talent into the company. Japanese junior. Entertainment and physical skills are both strong. Again, Fog of War's on, so it kind of limits how much I can show you, but that's just the setup I usually have when I go to play a game. Opener, ladies man, so he's one of the ones with actually a bit more substance behind his gimmick, I think is the best way to put it. 26 years of age, so there's a lot of upside in him, definitely a lot of upside. And I would like to see him compete for titles before too long. Now this guy's hair is out of this world. Ichiru Matsuoka. Now Ichiru, bit older than Hisoka, but I think he's actually better in ring wise at this point. Puroresu style, middleweight, low mid carder face, got a kind of punk gimmick going on for him there. It's a very interesting look, and almost for the look alone, even if he wasn't that talented, I'd be wanting to push him. Just all-round fantastic human being to have on the roster. What you'll notice is that a lot of the elder statesmen of the roster are almost knocking on retirement's door right away. So you'll have to look at people like Ichiru Matsuoka's of the company to step up to the plate and take their place in the long term. Or, failing that, if they're not good enough to cut the mustard, finding people who can. Ikano Nawada. Now, I think his gimmick was being an amateur wrestler, or a Japanese amateur wrestler back in the day, and I think that is correct, having just briefly glanced at his bio. But he does go with a Japanese junior style of work, which means that his fundamentals in terms of being able to do mat wrestling is pretty sound. Unfortunately, he's small enough to be able to actually learn the cruiserweight style a little bit more and kind of merge the two into being a Japanese junior. Opener, I'm not particularly fussed about him, if I'm being honest. You know, that's what I do. If I don't particularly care for someone, I'll let you know. Again, everyone else has their opinion, so this might be a popular guy for others. I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of you all yet, as you haven't played it. 27 years of age, so there is time to improve. And again, I could see him develop into being more of a continual threat in the title scene down the road, but not for now. I'd get him in the ring, certainly. I wouldn't, phase him out or anything like that, but potentially one for the future. James Avatar, myself. Junya Morimoto, hard as nails, 33 years of age. I don't know what. I don't think he's a particularly bad guy to have backstage. He just looks a bit like a dick to me. I don't know what it is, but his Puroresu and brawling are very strong, or very strong. Only at a mid-carder, possibly see the computer booking him to being upper mid-carder or main eventer even, but for me, I would keep him at the mid-card level, to be honest with you. Not to knock the guy, I just hate his face. Kandashi Kojima, former Olympic gymnast from Japan turned to pro wrestler. And I will be honest with you, if I was Dynamite Pro Wrestling, I would be looking to take this kind of guy from this company because he can do a bit of everything and he's young enough to improve. I think he's more of a fit for that kind of company long term than he would be for Desire Pro Wrestling. However, this is where he finds himself at this point in time. It's a bigger company, certainly. Whether it will suit him in long term, because I'm thinking he might not get pushed like he would want to. He is only an opener in this company, got the underdog gimmick. I think eventually he'd probably, if it was up to the computer, he'd look to greener pastures. And I think the most suitable promotion that comes to mind anyway is Dynamite Pro Wrestling. Okay, now one of my favourite characters in this promotion, Katsu Tanashi. He's kind of been the person that DPW have put their stamp of approval on and said, this is the guy that's going to take us into the next generation. Much in the same way of when Hulk Hogan was kind of being phased out of WWE after the steroid scandal, about 93. They put the stamp of approval on Bret Hart and said, this is the guy who's going to lead the next generation. And this is what's happening with Katsu Tanashi. Puroresu style, heavyweight, main eventer, face, no gimmick needed, great look, pretty damn good skills in ring. The only thing I wish he could do a bit better would be like the chain wrestling and mat wrestling submissions. It's still C+, so you can get good grades out of the guy, that's for sure. Puroresu's B, so that's fantastic. And he's got pretty decent star quality and, sex appeal. Yeah, sex appeal's pretty good as well, actually. But he's an all-rounder. He's not a jack of all trades and master of none, because I think he is actually very good and deserving of being a main eventer in the company, without question. And definitely my favourite character out of the ones that we've covered thus far in the roster. Now here we move to one of the veterans, as we were speaking about earlier, Kikuchi Natagano. 42 years of age, so fresh as a daisy if it had been ploughed in dog shit. Middleweight, mid-carder, face, no gimmick needed. Puroresu 77, so that's good. I think he might be a tag team worker, if I recall. And having a very quick look at his bio, I can see that Osaka 82, potentially the tag team with Yasuda Taguchi, and that actually started in the Japanese Wrestling Association, which is another Japanese company which used to be the big company in Japan. So they've moved on to bigger and better things as DPW have gone up the rankings. He's probably had a relatively decent career as a tag team worker, maybe not an outstanding career as a singles competitor. I could definitely see him taking on road agency work as he fades into retirement, so if he were to hang up the boots in, I think I'd keep him around for that, for a little bit at least. King Bernard. Best known to American fans for his work in CPW as Jack the Mountain Cahill. Now, CPW, Championship Pro Wrestling, we haven't covered yet, but this is the kind of person that I would definitely see working there. Now he's doing the Monster Gaijin in DPW, 40 years of age, not the best in ring, he's more known for his brawling than anything else, and his psychology's not anything to note. Power's good though, got a decent amount of star appeal, and his menace is quite high. So having him as an upper mid-carder in the company seems about right. Maybe mid-carder might be more akin to where he should be, but hey, there you go. You wouldn't tell him that. Look at that face. Lewis Elm, one of the greatest athletes to ever set foot in a wrestling ring. Light heavyweight, upper mid-carder, face, old school face. Nothing, I don't think I'd call him charismatically challenged or anything like that. Although if you look at his microphone stats on the right hand side there, maybe I could call him that. But in ring, really good. Chain wrestling, mat wrestling, both B pluses, as well as submission. He does have decent star quality as well. To be honest with you, this is the kind of guy that could work in any company, I think. He could pretty much draw a good match out of anyone, and he's 31 years of age, so there's definitely some upside in Lewis Elm. And potentially even a title holder in this company if I was doing a long-term vision of this game. Manabu Sato. Now, one of the strongest men in all of pro wrestling, upper mid-carder, no gimmick needed. Rumble skills are strong. 36 years of age, so he's not one of the younger workers on the roster. And I think upper mid-carder is about fitting for where I would have him. He came to wrestling a little bit late though, so his skills aren't probably what they should be if he came into the business at say 20 or in his late teens. But I do like the guy. I think he's got a pretty decent look as well. keep him round on that level for a while at the very least. Masahiro Yoshida, from what I recall, is the oldest gentleman on this roster of active workers at least. Yeah, 54, pure wrestling style though. His skills are fading. His pure wrestler is still 70. He's a mid-carder, so I could have seen him being a not heavyweight, but a main eventer at one point in time, but now not so much given time and how that's kind of ripped apart his body, I guess. Traditionalist though, very much of an old school mentality. I could see him being the kind of person that the likes of Katsu Tanashi would have beaten to get a bit of notoriety as the future of the next generation. But he's got basics in psychology are fantastic. Again, someone that would probably get a fair amount of work as a road agent. Mazushika Takigami. Run-of-the-mill big man, pretty much summed up in the short bio, really. Big heavyweight, lower mid-carder. Bodyguard, I think he's actually the bodyguard of the gentleman that I didn't like earlier, whose name escapes me. Give me a second. Junya Morimoto. Plays the heavy for him, even though Junya Morimoto is a big guy in his own right, although Takagami is bigger himself. I don't care for either of them. I care even less, arguably, about Mazushika Takagami. I wouldn't mind if he left the promotion, if I'm being honest with you. I can't think of anything I'd do with him short term, and long term I can't either. So he'd be someone that would be on the chop block for me. Now, another one of my favourites in this company is Minoru Yamaha. Now, Minoru Yamaha, 48 years of age, very much a veteran head, will be retiring soon. He's a light heavyweight. His brawling is fantastic. In fact, if you look at the skills on the right-hand side of the page here, he's pretty decent all-round bar, like aerial, I guess, and charisma's not the best, but it's not the worst either. Definitely fitting for the main event. I'll probably keep him there till he decides to hang up his boots or becomes completely inadequate with the role. MMA badass, so very strike heavy offense. But yeah, one of the best in this company for my money. Move now to Naichi Itsubara. 43 years of age. I think he's also a tag team competitor. Yes, he is. One half of Death and Destruction alongside Reagan, who will be seen momentarily. Regular wrestler, light heavyweight, upper mid-carder. I think that's too high for him, to be honest. His skills don't really warrant that. Okay psychology. In fact, a lot of people on this this roster have pretty good psychology. In fact, based on what we've seen so far, he's one of the ones who's got a bit of the least psychology, although he is one half of the DPW World Tag Team Champions. I would be looking to probably get the titles off them sooner rather than later until I see a reason to give them the opportunity again. Although, having said that, I might give them the opportunity to prove me wrong and see, as soon as they start having bad performances as champions, that will be when the belt will come off them. Reagan, I don't mind as much, I have to say, but yeah, Naichi Itsubara, he's one of the older gentlemen on the roster that I'm not crazy about. Now, Katsuo Okuma, or Akuma, as he just goes known as in this company, 26 years of age. Heavyweight main eventer already at the age of 26. His skills are very good though. If Katsu is seen as number one as far as the new generation, Akuma is just behind him. And I do mean just behind him. Two of my favourite guys in the company. Akuma probably has better long-term prospects being younger. Very, very good guy to have around. I think he even did a bit of a tour in the United States to develop his skills further. Now he's come back to Japan to make a name for himself in his homeland. Top bloke. Now, very gimmicky character. Pirate Takashi. He's a Super Junior. Someone, again, I could see working in the likes of Dynamite Pro Wrestling. Plays a bit of a dastardly heel, a bit underhanded tactics, which is uncommon in this company, which kind of helps him stand out for that reason alone. I do like the guy, 28 years of age. I could see him having some quite interesting matches with some of the other Super Juniors that we've seen in the roster review thus far. We have a couple referees here. We've got referee Kajuro Masuda and referee Saseki Narita. Don't really need to know much about them. Move now to Reagan, the other half of the DPW Tag Team Champions. 49 years of age, so actually 6 years older than his tag team partner, but I just prefer him. I think he's got a bit of a better look and he can do a bit more in the ring, so he offers a bit more as an overall package, I think. Again, very near to retirement, so we've got a lot of old workers in DPW, so it'd be fun project-wise to kind of build the next generation of Puro Resu stars. Ren Hisao. Just an announcer, really. He's been originally, again, worked for the Japanese Wrestling Alliance in 1994 as their lead play-by-play man, but then he jumped to Desire Pro Wrestling in 2005. So I guess a bit of a turncoat, but I don't blame the guy because DPW is certainly higher in the pecking order in Japanese wrestling. Rocket Harinobu. A bit of a risk taker, lightweight competitor, enhancement talent, the lowest guy on the roster. Has an okay look, but not sold on him myself. I would have to see how he deals with the likes of the Pirate Takeshis and the Doragon Kiddos, Alexander Repkovs even. See how he fares, but wouldn't be the end of the world if he left the roster. But again, he could even be someone that would find home in Dynamite Pro Wrestling, so he does have options there. So now we'll see how he does and decide after a few appearances where we see him going, if we see a future for him or not. Ryuichi Nomasaka. Ryuichi, there we go. I apologise, like I said, I'm not too bad at pronouncing names, but when the pressure of the red light is on the screen there, and you see, everything comes into focus, brother, it gets a little bit tricky. But no, Ryuichi Nomasaka, I think he actually does some of the promotional posters for the company as well, so that's a nice little backstory that we have for the guy. He's a lightweight competitor, 24 years of age, enhancement talent, so he's on the level of Rocket Harinabu, but I see so much more potential in this guy. Someone even pushing towards main eventer within 5 years, hopefully. I'd hope, well, you'd have to hope that his skills develop to be at that level, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a wasted effort, but it's not out of the realms of possibility. Now this is the man that owns the company, obviously prior to me coming in and taking over. Shichiro Matsushita, 64 years of age, Japanese businessman, best known for being the owner of Desire Pro Wrestling. No wrestling experience prior to founding the promotion in 1985, but has proven to have an excellent mind for the business. Strong leadership, basically. That's seen him get to this far. I've just given him a push as authority figure because he was whinging off camera. Whinging a lot off camera, actually. Saying, oh, you haven't given me a push. Yeah, it doesn't matter, I'm only doing a show. You can unbunch your panties and get on with the rest of your life. But anyway, here he is. He'll be an authority figure, although he'll have no appearances as far as I'm concerned. Hence why he's got morale irritated, just in case you're wondering. Shigeru Masaki, 5'7", so he's one of the smaller workers in the company. Lightweight brawler. Badass. I like this guy. He offers something different to the junior division. Bit more in your face, bit rough and tough. I mean, very bizarre look in terms of hair, but I think it works for him. Let me have a look here what it says in the bio. I just saw something quite interesting. He actually got his start working in the Oriental Fight Club, which was a company that we covered in episode 7. Now that's interesting. He actually did well in that company and made a name for himself, and eventually moved on into becoming not a jobber, because he's a mid-card worker in this company, but yeah, a successful tag team worker as part of Thunder Raid. I see upside to the guy, I do. Silver Jakaru. Now Silver Jakaru isn't the most exciting guy. I think his look is very exciting, and his rumble and technical skills are pretty good. 32 years of age, so there's time for him to carry on staying around this level and even improve. Mid-carder, no gimmick needed. I mean, his look is his gimmick, I guess. Trying to see where I would... Well, put it this way. With the likes of John Yamamoto in the mid-card scene, Silver Jakaru I prefer to him, obviously, that should go without saying. And I think he can be developed into being a higher... Well, put in higher standing in the company as a whole. Maybe not main eventer, maybe not a title holder, but upper mid-carder, yeah. I'd be happy with that. Taka Marufuji. They say in the bio, Taka Marufuji may be the most talented wrestler to have never won a title. Now, 44 years of age, Japanese junior lightweight competitor. If you weren't going to give him a title, which is understandable at this point in time because his skills have gone down a little bit from what they would have been in his prime, you could certainly use him to develop some of the younger guys in that division. Now, that might be not fitting for a guy who had the talent of Taka Marufuji. Again, if I do a historical mod where Taka Marufuji was in his prime, something that you guys could completely change. Upper mid-carder, you might want to try and work him down slightly to mid-carder maybe. But I'm happy to have this kind of gentleman on the roster. Takamaru Itani, 37 years of age, MMA crossover, unbreakable Takamaru. Well, in fact, his bio doesn't agree the name that he's got in the company, so that will be changed. Spotted a little flaw there, we'll fix that for you. Takamari Itani, yep. Lower mid-carder, that's about where I see him. Physical side of things is relatively strong. Not someone I'm too excited about pushing, to be fair. I think he's just there to make up the numbers at this point in time, but see where things go. He actually briefly trained in the DPW dojo under Minoru Yamaha. So, you know, that's got to have helped him out somewhat, because I like Minoru Yamaha. Now, Takashi Ogiwara. 47 years of age. Wrestler, road agent, but most importantly, DPW World Heavyweight Champion. In ring, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Even at 47 years of age, he can probably wrestle rings around most of the people on the roster. And this is the guy that I'd be looking to feud with Katsu Tanashi. I want to say Minoru there. Katsu Tanashi for the title. Maybe even have him drop the title at some point to Katsu Tanashi. Nearly said Minoru again. I've got that in my head now. Just a brilliant worker to have. No question would I keep him around after he retired as a road agent, because he's just brilliant in that respect. Tanji Sioni. Brawler, heavyweight, upper mid-carder, no gimmick needed. I'm not actually that fussed about him. In ring he's okay, 32 years of age. But compared to some of the other guys on the card, or on the roster in general, like Lewis Elms, Tanji Sioni really doesn't do much for me. But in the bio it says DPW's young. He was the first foreign wrestler to win DPW's Young Lion Championship. So the promotion themselves see him as a star, me not so much. But let's see if he can prove me wrong. Long term. Short term, obviously I'm only doing the one show, so he won't have the opportunity to prove me wrong unless he pulls an A-star out of his anus. Not the XCW worker. Taro Michitaki. Young Japanese wrestler. Middleweight, Puroresu style, one of the younger workers, 28 years of age. Not really connecting with the crowd, even though his gimmick is a young lion, someone to try and get behind. His in-ring stuff's just not great, to be honest with you. Someone that the company would probably let go in relatively short order. He could probably find work in JWA, but DPW might be a bit too much for him. I like this guy. Tiger Nakajima. 17-year veteran. He's 37 years of age. Puroresu style, heavyweight, main eventer, traditionalist. This would also make an interesting feud with the current champion, to be honest. Takashi Ogiwara, I could see having a pretty decent match with Tiger Nakajima. Just trying to think how brutal that would be with chops and lariatos. I think that would be quite awesome. Everyone loves a good lariato. Right. Move on now to Tanahashi Anafune, colour commentator. There you go. Tsuneo Yamakaze. Now, Tsuneo Yamakaze, 31 years of age, tag team worker. I think he's Thunder Raid with the gentleman that we saw earlier on. Let me just have a brief look at the bio. Yep, with Shigeru Mizaki. Formed in 2008, so I think they're quite a good little and large combination. Although Tsuneo Yamakaze actually has a bully gimmick, so I could see him kind of flattening the likes of Rocket Harinabu and that level of competitor in this company. That'd be fun to book. Probably a decent threat to the tag team titles as well. Move on now to White Tiger. Now, White Tiger was trained by the legendary Great Tiger, who doesn't actually have a render yet, but there you go. White Tiger was a childhood friend of the Tiger Kid. Now, the Tiger Kid is in Honor League Grappling. White Tiger and Tiger Kid had a bit of a falling out based on the fact that the Great Tiger passed his mask on to Tiger Kid as opposed to White Tiger. Hence why White Tiger became White Tiger. The two haven't actually ever competed in a ring or worked for the same company, I don't believe. Now, as a Japanese junior, White Tiger could probably do quite well. Well, both in this company and were he to go to HLG, that would also be pretty damn good, I have to say. And he's the current DPW Young Lion champion. So he's got a lot of upside, this gentleman. Move on now to Yasada Taguchi, 40 years of age, light heavyweight, bit of a nothing character. He's part of the tag team with Kikuchi Natagano, but yeah, not really doing it for me, I'm afraid, sir. Middleweight. Not really a lot to say. His skills are very average for this company. Basics and psychology are good though, but I wouldn't bother putting too much effort into him, mainly because I see him going into retirement, or me forcing him to retirement after a short amount of time. Yoshiru Hasekawa, 39 years of age, pure wrestler style, light heavyweight, main eventer face. Probably an older version of what Katsu Tanashi will turn into. Very good in ring. Well, elements of what he can do in ring is very good, but again, 39 years of age, I'd be looking at the likes of Tiger Nakajima and Katsu Tanashi at taking the ball and running with it and phasing Yoshiro Hasekawa down a little bit. Not to get rid of him entirely, but maybe kind of put him more towards the mid-card level after about a year or two maybe. Whether he'd accept that or not is debatable. But I do like the guy. Back in his prime, I'd imagine me putting a lot of effort into him. But now I think I just have other priorities in DPW. Yudai Tanaka, 61 years of age, road agent, retired in 2007 after a major concussion. That is pretty much all you need to know, and with a little bit of a damp squib, we come to the end of the roster. As you can see, quite sizable, lots of characters for you to take in. Anyone who's seen my previous work on Twitch will have likely seen the video that I did covering DPW, but for YouTube and everyone else who's new to this will get to have a fresh look as we just have there, so hopefully you like what you've seen of the roster. It's pretty good, there's a lot of talent on there. No starting storylines, I know that for a fact. Titles. Get to see fantastic title renders once again, thank you to Mr. MJ Stark. The DPW World Heavyweight title is held by Takashi Ogiwara, as we can see, lovely title belt there. DPW World Tag Team titles held by Reagan and Naichi Itsubara. And the DPW Young Lion title is held by White Tiger. Now, let's have a look at the tag teams. We have Death and Destruction, the tag team champions. Nakajima and Tanashi. That's a powerful combination. They are occasional tag team though. Two of my favourite faces in the whole company actually. New Age Strong Style of Taro Michitaki and Ichiro Matsuoka. Fortunately for Taro, he's being paired with Matsuoka, which will probably keep him in the company for a bit longer than it might otherwise. Osaka 82 of Kikuchi Natagano and Yosada Taguchi. Takagami and Morimoto. Wank. Tokawa and Yoshida. The American Monsters of King Bernard and Archer Knox. Thunder Raid, Shigeru Mizaki and Sunio Yamakaze. And Vodka Rum Connection, Pirate Takashi and Alexander Repkov. I like that tag team actually, it's quite a fun tag team. And let's have a look at the creative meeting. Franchise players, Takashi Ogiwara, Katsu Tanashi, Tiger Nakajima, Yoshiro Hasekawa and Minoru Yamaha. I think that's a fair look at the roster for that. Next big things, none. Hot prospects, Taro Michitaki, surprising. Rocket Harinobu, really surprising. Kandashi Kojima, Mazushika Takagami, unfortunate. And Ryoichi Nomasaka, which is probably the best one on that list to be on there, apart from Kandashi Kojima. Talk the talk. White Tiger, Takashi Ogiwara, Katsu Tanashi, Junya Morimoto, and Yoshiro Hosokawa. Showstoppers, we have White Tiger, Takashi Ogiwara, Lewis Elm, Katsu Tanashi, and Silver Jakaru. Ring Generals, Takashi Ogiwara, Lewis Elm, Eiji Takawa, Masahiro Yoshida, and White Tiger. Who's hot? Fortunately, Takashi Ogiwara, the champion, Tiger Nakajima, Naichi Itsubara, King Bernard, and Tanji Siomi. Who's not? Mazushika Takigami. I'm happy with that. Time decline, probably loads. Yep, loads. Oh no. Masahiro Yoshida, Minoru Yamaha, Reagan, Naichi Itsubara, and Takashi Ogiwara. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't really be surprised with any of them, seeing as they're all in their 40s, or some even in their 50s. But still sad to see Takashi Ogiwara on time decline list, and Minoru Yamaha. And Hidden Gems. MC Chaos. That is not who I would have had on this list. MC Chaos, Yuki Inoue, Marshall Manson, Ed Stein, and Kenshin Kawaguchi. Couple of them, yeah, that's fair enough, but MC Chaos, terrible idea for this promotion. Terrible idea. The other ones are, yeah, fair enough, but not MC Chaos. Anyway, now we'll book the show. So let's skip to that, as we see Lucien von Flew of AWF fame, The Artists, episode 1 and 2, for anyone that's interested. I think for the series, this being episode 14, it's the first time we've actually looked at a Puro company, so that's a nice change. We've kind of covered a bit of all areas now. Don't think, well, we've covered Luchasaurus X, but it wasn't a Mexican-based lucha company. We're having a bout in the Tokyo Civil Stadium. That's okay. Locker room incidents. Ooh. Shigeru Mizaki and Takashi Ogiwara. Ooh, that's not what you want to do. That's the OFC coming out in you. That's stupid. Well, Riot Act. Okay, whatever you say. You don't go in on the champion like that. He could break your face. As you do, I guess. Anyway, let's book a show. 2 hours. I don't think we need to worry about too much on this. Not needing any angles, I wouldn't have thought, for a Puro company. Right, so let's have a look at the main event, guys. We won't have the title defended on this show, but we will have these two gentlemen go up against each other, because I like the look of this. This one we're going to let go about 30 minutes, I think. Or about 28. It'll be a slow build. Actually, no, we'll have the title on the line. Takashi will win, though. Loser, Tiger Nakajima. Open match. I might even let them call it in the ring, you know. But I'll slow build it, and then I'll let them decide. I'll let fate decide, as it were. Haven't put the title on the line. The World Heavyweight title is going up for grabs. Okay. Right, we want a tag team encounter. Not for the titles though. Probably not involving the tag team champions either. But we want... exclude booked. Might have just a couple of the... like the American Monsters... and yeah, New Age Strong Style in the match. Guess who's taking the fall in this one, boys? I think you know. I think you know. 14 minutes. Yeah, Archer Knox can get the win. Tara Michitaki will be taking the loss. I will keep it open, I won't get them squashed. And I will have it scripted. Okay. Now we'll get Katsu on the card. Haven't decided yet who's going to go up against. Oh, yeah, okay, I had an idea for what I want to do in another match. This will be a fun little bat. Fun little bat. Fun little match. Let it go about 16. This will probably co-main event, I think. And I'll have Tanahashi win, mainly because I'll be booking him up against Ogiwara when it comes to the pay-per-view. Open match though. I might even let them call it in the ring. See how they do with that. Okay. Right, I want a tag team match on with Akuma there he is, teaming with Yoshiro Hosokawa. Ig Takao will be on the other side, and I'll pick an upper mid-card heel for him to team with. If we have one, assuming we have one, we must have one. Huh, all the upper mid-carders are face. Okay, we'll go a bit lower down to mid-carder. And get someone I don't despise. Masaru Yoshida could work. Silver Jackaru could work better, but he's face. White Tiger I want in a different match altogether. So yeah, I think the best option here is Masaru Yoshida. Don't want it to go too long because we don't want to show Yoshida's age. So I'll have it go 12. Victor will be, this will be just, I really like booking Puro companies as well. Just kind of imagining how awesome the action would be. Okay. Open match. Have that go on there. Actually, no, I'll put it there because I think the American Monsters and New Age Strong Style will lower it a little bit. Now we're going to have a Young Lions title match as well. So we want White Tiger to defend against. I'm trying to think about who would be a decent match for him. Has to be a face. Silver Jackaru, there you go. That should work, I think. Because Young Lion isn't specifically for young workers. I think it's more of a case of just being able to put your stamp on someone and say this could be the next guy for the main title. So it's not age restricted. I don't believe it is anyway. That was what the intention was when I set about doing this. 12 minutes, we'll put the DPW Young Lion title on. Victor will keep the title on White Tiger. We will have it an open match though. And that's about all I want to specify. I also want a couple extra matches on here. How long have we got? We've only done 90 minutes, so I've still got more time. It's a 2-hour show. Let's have a singles match. I want Lewis Elm on the card. And a heel for him to go up against. Junior Muramoto. Why not? Auto name. 8 minutes. I'll let the computer decide this one. This will be that match. I'm hoping and praying that Lewis Elm gets the win though. And might have just a little kind of juniors match to start off with the likes of this gentleman. Might have him lose to Pirate Takeshi. I don't mind who wins this either. I'm pretty sure Pirate Takeshi will get it, so I'll just leave that as is. And might have like a four corners match. It'll only be put down as a 4-way, but it'll be a 4 corners match. And we'll get the likes of Takamarufuji, Dorogon Kiddo to represent the face side of things. Yeah, Hisoka Minami and Tamura Itani. And I think I'll actually give it to Dorogon Kiddo. I don't really mind who takes the loss. It will be an open match. And I might go for an all-out match as well. Yeah, normally if I was actually booking this as a diary, I would go in and make Takamarufuji still look strong. But Dorogon Kiddo's younger, Kiddo. I'll have this go on after Akano Nawada and Pirate Takashi. So there you go, you've got a lot of solid action there. We've got 8 good matches with a couple of fantastic ones littered in there. For the touring schedule, my idea for this company would be to have 2 weekly events leading up to their pay-per-view. Purely because normally I do maybe 1 show a week if it was a regular schedule, and then obviously that leads up to a pay-per-view, so I'll get 2 months worth of regular shows on a card leading up to a pay-per-view, and that's how I think I would do it. So this is relatively accurate. I'll probably put on some dark show matches as well to get more people on the card, as they're on written contracts anyway, but I'll just show you this for now. Okay, we are going to go into the action. And we start off in front of 15,000 people at Tokyo Civil Stadium with a D-. In a bout that had solid in-ring action but non-existent crowd heat, Pirate Takashi defeated Akano Nawada in 7 minutes 40 by pinfall with a swashbuckler. No noticeable improvements, that's unfortunate. In a bout that had solid in-ring action but not much in the way of heat, Dorogon Kiddo defeated Takamarufuji, Hisoka Minami and Takamura Itani in 8 minutes 43 when Dorogon Kiddo defeated Hisoka Minami by pinfall with a corkscrew breathing fire. D+. Lots of improvements for Hisoka Minami, so I just wanted to check that actually. I was hoping he'd improve, he does. Now this is getting there, seeing as one of the workers is absolute shite. In a match that had some good action but not much in the way of heat, Lewis Elm drew with Junya Muramoto in 8 minutes 21 when the referee lost control and stopped the match. Okay, well there you go, that set up a feud I guess. See? So the computer wouldn't even decide who won that one. I've been Londoned. Okay? Only a minor London effect. I was hoping this would score better. In a match that had some good action and average heat, Akuma and Yoshiro Hasakawa defeated Takawa and Yoshida in 11 minutes 40 when Akuma defeated Masahiro Yoshida by pinfall with a glimmering star driver. Unfortunately, IG Takawa and Masahiro Yoshida don't work well as a team, which is unfortunate because they're a tag team with great chemistry. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if they are. That doesn't matter anyway, it's a D+. We'll move on. We live and learn. White Tiger defeats Silver Jackaroo. In a match that had some good action but not much in the way of heat, White Tiger defeated Silver Jackaroo in 11 minutes 37 by pinfall with a Tiger Suplex. White Tiger makes defense number 1 of his DPW Young Lion title. In a bout that had solid in-ring action but not much in the way of heat, the American Monsters defeated New Age Strong Style in 13 minutes 51 when Archie Knox defeated Taro Michitaki by submission with a Fort Knox. D+. Oh, I was hoping that was going to be a bit higher. I'm hoping the main event's going to steal the show here. In a bout that had a good crowd and some good action, Katsu Tanashi defeated Minoru Yamaha in 16 minutes 7 by pinfall with a Tornado Lariat. Come on, main event. Hey, closer to what we're looking for. In a bout that had great heat and great wrestling action, Takashi Ogiwara defeated Tiger Nakajima in 27 minutes and 53 seconds by pinfall with a Raider Saber. Takashi Ogiwara makes defense number 1 of his DPW World Heavyweight title. Now that's what I wanted to see. Probably going to drop the overall show rating, unfortunately. Yeah, B-, it lost us popularity in one region. I think I'm pretty happy with the show overall. Unfortunately, there are a couple of matches that dragged us down significantly. I think long term I'd be able to make a pretty good success of this, and the late winter tour gets off with a meh. I won't say this has been the London effect because I think it's not too bad all things considered. But there you go. That brings us to the end of this episode of covering Desire Pro Wrestling. Had a look at the roster, the titles, put a little show together with the touring schedule, so that's something different for you to see out there. If you have liked this video, please do hit that like button and subscribe right down there. Let's try and get this up to the first target of 50 subscribers. Might do a special video for you guys when I get to there. And for the next episode, what I will say is I will take the suggestions below. I have no preference over what company I do next. So in the comments below here, put whatever company that you know of that's in the Londonverse that you'd like to see covered in episode number 15. And the one with the highest vote, so if someone's already put the comment of the promotion you want there, you can either add the same thing yourself or you can like that comment and I'll take that as someone who's also agreeing for that promotion. And that will be the next episode I cover. If there hasn't really been much comments or feedback in the way of that, I'll pick myself and then I'll look back at this video afterwards and I'll see what was decided from there, and that'll be the next video I do. So thank you very much guys for having a look at this video with me, and until next time, thanks for stopping by.